Asagao Academy, Normal Boots Club.
What's up YouTube, this is Arlyoshi as usual, I'm Max, and welcome to Let's Play. You already heard the title. I have not played this before, and I honestly have no idea what to even expect whatsoever, except that we're going to be dating the guys from Normal Boots. And I only know like half of them. The train made its way along the gentle curve of the coast of Japan, whisking me farther and farther from home. Across from me sat a boy, face half buried in a newspaper. He was deeply entranced in whatever article he was reading, and hadn't spoken a single word to me, even when I asked if I could join him in the last compartment with any available space. Who the hell reads a newspaper these days? Does this guy not have a phone or something? He shrugged, nodded, and adjusted his newspaper without ever making eye contact. It had been almost an hour, in fact, and he hadn't once looked at me. Devoid of conversation, I took instead to counting the buttons on the pretentiously lush carmine seat cushions. 1, 2, 3, 21, 22, and so forth, over and over. Now and again I turned to look out the window where the trees were blurring by. Sometimes the smeared green would break and reveal the quiet blue of the Sea of Japan. Eventually, this rapidity made my stomach churn, and I went back to counting the buttons on the seat cushions. 1, 2, 3. This is the greatest button counting simulator I've ever played. The train compartment shuddered around us. My eyes wandered to the boy in his jacket. It wasn't the school-issued blue that I and the other students on the train were wearing. Instead, it was a green varsity-like jacket with an embroidered patch poorly sewn on front. Why is he sparkling? Why is he sparkling? I'm asking the important questions here. Why is this dude sparkling? Whatever. I'm sure we'll find out sooner or later. He probably just had a freak glitter accident. Probably doesn't want to talk about it. He's very traumatized. So you're a first year then? He folded his newspaper neatly, set it in his lap, and looked at me with a half-interested gaze. Did he just catch me staring? Now that the paper was gone, I saw his face. He watched me through heavy-lidded eyes. His hair was immaculately groomed, his teeth straight and blindingly bright. There was something about him, the way the light hit him, that made him look like he was almost sparkling? Yeah, I can see that. Me? He glanced around the compartment, empty besides us, and laughed. Oh, no, I'm not a first year. I'm a third year. The train began to slow, metal wheels groaning against metal tracks. The sudden shift threatened to rob me of whatever was left in my stomach, but I closed my eyes and took a deep breath, willing myself to keep it together. What kind of impression would I leave, puking on a student before I even arrived at the academy? The boy frowned. I picked at the hem of my cotton skirt. That's not possible. I've never seen you before. I don't actually know who this is quite yet. Like, I'm sure I'll recognize some of them. Like, I'm definitely going to be able to recognize, say, John and Gerard. But I can't quite recognize this guy. I think it's Pro Jared, and I don't know his voice off the top of my head. So, I apologize if I start giving these guys really unfitting voices. It took me a moment of mouth fishing to find a response. It's because I'm a transfer student? He laughed again. A transfer student, huh? We don't get many of those. I removed my acceptance letter from the front pocket of my uniform. The paper, heavyweight, off-white, had accumulated creases from my reading and rereading, as if the words might have changed since the last time I read it. The boy took it, studied it, then handed it back to me.
I'll see you around.
Well then, Hana, I suppose I'll be seeing you around. He smiled at me as he picked up the suitcase lying next to him. By the time I hiccuped a response, he was already gone from the compartment. I stared out into the empty hallway of the train. It was then that I realized he, having gotten it from my acceptance letter, knew my name, and I never got his. Well, sucks to be you. The train settled at the station, and I filed out with the rest of the uniformed students. It was early April, and the last frost of winter had come and gone. Early April, and the snow's already gone? Excuse me, where do you live exactly? I don't know about you, but I get that I live in Canada, but I have never seen the snow go away before the start of May. And bear in mind, I know I live in Canada, but I've also never seen the snow come anytime before December, so... The trees were already green, their leaves shivering and the occasional gust weaving through them. The air was mild, only a few clouds hanging in the sky. I walked along the road with a swarm of blue-jacketed bodies, looking at the little groups breaking off from the crowd. Everyone was buzzing so animatedly around me that we couldn't show it. I held my suitcase tight in my sweaty hands. It was leather-bound and worth more than anything it contained. It wasn't far to the school, and I was, for maybe the first time in my life, thankful that what I owned didn't amount to much. My school-issued black Oxfords clicked on the pavement. I walked this walk over and over in my mind. So many nights I lay awake, imagining what it would be like to walk from the train station to Asagao Academy this first time. For the record, I know nothing about how to pronounce Japanese stuff. I know 3 Japanese terms. I know konnichiwa, munona orakamono, and pretty much everything that Genji and Hanzo say in Overwatch. But aside from that, I don't know any Japanese, so I apologize if I pronounce stuff wrong. I'm going to be saying whatever looks right, whatever sounds right to me. My new start. I always imagined that everything would change for me on this walk. That somehow, everything would be magically different and delicious. But as I looked around, I realized nothing had changed. I hadn't changed. By the time I reached the massive gate to the academy, I forgot all about the disappointment slouching in the back of my throat. I wonder, can I, do this with a key or something? Okay, spacebar, good. Now I can move the mouse off the thing, because it's probably been annoying. The school, framed by the gate's twisting black metal, was just as beautiful as the glossy photos I saw in its pamphlets. This was it. Asagao Academy. I glanced around. The swarm of students gathered around the gate. Beyond it, tiny blue people bounced around the academy's main building. You can't just call people blue like that. A girl pressed a button to one side of the gate. The excitement in the air was almost palpable. A few moments later, the black gate, with great effort, creaked outwards and cleared the pathway. As the rest of the group shifted into motion, I followed along, a sheep in the herd. My stomach tied itself into knots. The crowd split off in different directions. For a moment, I panicked. A tired-looking man with graying hair called out for first years, a cluster of fresh-faced students gathering around him. Hey, look at that girl! I turned. A few feet away, a small group of boys were pointing at me and snickering. Pink hair? Pink hair? Are you kidding me? How desperate can you get? Hot shame crawled down my neck. I attached myself to a group of girls, following a few steps behind them. In the distance, cicadas hummed in time to my shoes crunching against gravel. My hair. It wasn't my fault that my hair looked like this. Luckily, I found myself at the girls' dormitory, a large sign in the lawn reading Primrose House. The building dwarfed me in size and sheer intimidation. How many students did Asagao have? As I approached the building, a red-headed girl lingering nearby caught my attention. Hello. I looked away, then looked back. She was staring at me. She walked over.
Oh, you must be my roommate!
Okay, I guess the voice actor's gonna take care of some things for me. I eyed her warily. She was smiling and bouncing in a way that suggested her views on life were akin to a perpetual bouncy castle.
What?
Me?
Bingo.
Of course, you silly. Let me guess, room 325? 325? I thought back to the paper I received a month prior with a list of all the supplies I needed for the year and my dorm arrangements. Yeah, that's right. She laughed, but I couldn't figure out what was so funny. Was she laughing at me? When I found out my roommate was a transfer student, I knew you were going to be a total main character. Oh my god. I'm already loving this character. I don't even know her name yet, but I'm loving her. I'm sorry, a what? When I saw you outside the gate, I knew it was you. I mean, look at that hair. I felt a lump forming in my throat. What was she talking about? She had to be making fun of me. I hadn't spent more than 5 minutes on campus and I was already being mocked. My hands began to tremble. Is there something wrong with my hair? Her face slackened from its amused smile to a more worried expression. Then she began to laugh again.
No. It's great. I'm sorry.
Okay, thanks.
We're getting off on the wrong foot, aren't we? Oh gosh. I'm Mai Sasaki. You must be Hana.
Thank you, voice actress. I bowed my head.
Hello.
It's nice to meet you, Mai. Okay, you just gonna cut off the voice acting now? Okay. All your school books are waiting in our room with your welcome letter, and I read the envelope. I hope you're not mad. Mai started walking toward the dorm's front doors. I followed behind like a lost puppy. Did you check in at the front desk already? No, I didn't. I didn't know I was supposed to. Good. They'll offer to have a staff member give you a tour of the campus, but I can show you around. We don't get many transfer students in year 3, you know. Oh, is that your only bag? Just the one? I'm glad I bought an extra bag of stuff to decorate our room with. I started already, I hope you don't mind. An extra stuff of bag. Perfect. But I did wait to string the lights. I thought we could do it together, you know? She spoke quickly, the words bubbling from her mouth, and left me no time to answer until the end of her monologue. Yeah, okay, that sounds good. She held the front door open for me and I hurried inside. Can you tell it's the girls' dorm? Girls filed up and down the hallway, howling greetings and exchanging vague niceties that were, more often than not, how was your break? And look at how tan you got. It seemed like everyone knew each other. I followed Mai as she led me through the maze of students and up 2 flights of stairs. Each dorm floor looked the same as the last. Narrow, white doors lining both sides of the pale pink walls. Thin gold numbers were tacked to the front of each, the numbers rising as we climbed. You're not missing anything with the campus tour, I promise. Mr. Saitomo does them every year and he's, like, totally dull. He just drags you around the entire campus and talks in that weird squeaky voice of his. I'll tell you everything you need to know. I smiled, trying to let this calm my nerves. Thanks. We headed down a hallway on the 3rd floor. Mai stopped us in front of a door numbered 325. Blah, blah, blah. Why can I not say numbers? Here we are. Huh. I wonder which bed is ours. A faint smell of potpourri wafted through the room. The walls, like the hallway, were a soft, powdery pink. Why can I not say stuff? Mai already defaced them with a tapestry of posters, magazine cutouts, and photographs. Yeah, I wish you could do that in dorms. Some of the photos were of cats, but most were of male models and rugged musicians. A bunk bed, 2 writing desks with wooden chairs, a small dresser, and a mirrored vanity, all clearly provided by the school, were the only pieces of furniture in the tiny room. The top bunk was already covered in neatly tucked blankets and throw pillows of clashing patterns and colors. The bottom bunk had a single, stiff-looking pillow and a thin cotton blanket that I didn't need to touch to know was horribly itchy. I must have grimaced because Mai quickly smiled at me. I brought way too many pillows and blankets. I always overpack. I went to Italy over break and Mom got really mad at me because I brought 5 bags, but we were only there for a week. She laughed, pulled several blankets and pillows from her bunk, and rearranged them neatly on mine. A sudden twinge of guilt and embarrassment hit me.
Perfection.
There, that's much better. Thanks, Mai. I placed my suitcase on the bottom bunk and began to unpack its contents. Several changes of clothing, pens and pencils, empty notebooks, a few photographs of my father, a dilapidated stuffed rabbit, and an old portable radio in a small black box. Mai opened the curtains and the sunlight poured in. So, where are you from? I slid the now empty suitcase under the bottom bunk. About 2 hours north of here. It's a small town called Amararisu. You probably haven't heard of it. Okay, there are too many RIs, thanks. I set the stuffed rabbit, Mr. Bunny, on my bed beside a purple and teal throw pillow. Oh. Did you go to a different boarding school, or...? No, I went to a public school down the street from my house. Public school? What was that like? Were the students mean? Did you have a lot of friends? I always went to private schools. My parents work a lot and my dad goes overseas, so I think they stuck me here for convenience. Oh, hey, what's that? I'd removed an ornately patterned origami crane from the black box and was setting it on the unclaimed writing desk. Oh, this? My mother made it for me a long time ago. Let me guess, your mother's dead. Because this is anime. I set it beside a stack of thick textbooks, which I assumed were provided for me.
Aww.
Wow, it's so pretty. I've never seen paper like that before. Oh yeah, the lights, let me get them. I don't know about you, but it kind of looks like the lights are already strung up, girl. Mai went to her own desk, opened the drawer, and pulled out a long, tangled string of fairy lights. I thought these would look nice. Here, help me string them up. She grabbed a container of push pins, then pulled her wooden desk chair out and over to one wall. I did the same with my own. Together, we pinned the lights around the perimeter of the room. Kinda looks like you only put them on one wall, but I'll take your word for it. How was the train ride over? Did you meet anyone? No, not really. I was in a compartment with some guy and...
What?
Some guy, huh? Was he cute? Wow, asking the important questions here. You know, I knew him for like... I think we exchanged like 3 sentences apiece. Why does this matter? Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. I didn't even get his name. Mai seemed disappointed for a moment, then perked back up. You'll have to point him out to me if you see him again. Okay. Once we finished stringing the lights, Mai climbed down from her chair and brushed her hands together triumphantly.
Yeah!
Done! Okay, now it's time for lunch. The food here is pretty good. There's this ramen place down the street from campus that's like out of this world, but the school only lets us leave campus on weekends. Mai walked to the window. We could go today because it's Sunday and it's pretty nice out, but I guess you might want to go to the cafe since you just got here. We could... Yes, I did notice that she was suddenly interrupted by her own enthusiastic laughter. I was interrupted by it. Oh my gosh, Mimi Santos totally just tripped outside and fell on her face. I saw it. Oh, is that mean to laugh? Maybe I shouldn't have. Oh well. Anyways, let's go eat. I'm totally starved. I'm starting to get an idea of what Mai here is like. She led me out of the room before I even had the chance to respond. Just the microphone. The cafeteria was buzzing with students excited for the new year. The only people as nervous looking as I felt were the tables of skittish, wide-eyed first years. I stepped into the line behind Mai, taking an empty plastic tray. We shuffled through, asking for helpings from the sulky cafeteria workers when we passed something that looked good. With full trays, Mai led me straight into a table in the back where a few students were already sitting. Mai sat down and I took a seat across from her. Hi Mai, how was your break? It was good. I went to Italy and Spain. Dad fell off a ski jet and broke his ankle.
Uh-huh.
It's better now, though. Oh, well, that's nice. I expected to be introduced, but the girl turned back to her group of friends, and Mai turned back to me. She began to assault her food with a fork and tell me, in a practically minute-by-minute account, about her fleeting romance last summer with a boy she met on the beach that didn't go further than a few salty kisses. Do I need to know this? Like, do I need to? I sat back and let Mai talk. For the first time since arriving on campus, I felt like I was finally able to breathe. I picked up my Brussels sprouts and studied Mai as she spoke. Why would you ask for Brussels sprouts? What's wrong with you? You're weird. The more she talked, the more I began to notice small details about her.
Well...
She had a high songbird voice.
What?
She was dynamic, her face twisting this way and that into exaggerated expressions as she spoke. She laughed often. She imitated people in wildly unflattering voices, seemingly unrelated to her actual opinion of them. But most notably, she talked. A lot. I didn't find this particularly annoying, as it filled the silence that she hardly ever asked questions that required my full attention. Just as Mai was rounding off a shockingly detailed account of the time she accidentally walked in on our friend's older brother in the act of changing, why do I need to know this, a flash of a familiar green caught my eye. I glanced over. Hey, that's him! Huh? Who? I leaned across the table to whisper, just in case he could hear me through the ambient chatter of the lunchroom. The boy from the train, that's him.
What?
Jared? Yeah, knew it! Yeah, with the weird green jacket and swoopy hair. He just picked up his tray and was walking past us when something seemed to catch his eye. Oh, you. I looked up at him, suddenly realizing he was talking to me.
Hana.
Hana, I met you on the train. How are things settling down for you? Really well. I found my roommate and she's been helping me out. I gestured to Mai, who was thunderstruck. In fact, looking around, everyone was. People stopped eating to turn and stare at Jared and me, my shoulders bunched around my neck. Well, if you ever need any help, I'll be around. 3rd year, right? I nodded.
All right.
Some of my friends are in that year. Of course, they can't compare to me, but I'll give them the heads up to look out for you. He flashed a dazzling smile, then winked. It's the least I can do for such a cute girl. Well, I'll see you around. I watched a torrent of thoughts. Thank you, Sparkle Man! Thank you, Mr. Sparkle. You've been fantastic. Pro Sparkle. I watched a torrent of thoughts raging through my head as he took a seat next to a bunch of guys who were all wearing the same jacket. That's Jared! She tore her eyes away from him and looked at me.
He's so cute.
He's the most beautiful guy in school! I mean... Sparkles, I guess?
Oh, Jared.
I can't believe he just looked at me. I looked at Mai. Her cheeks were glowing an indecent pink. I'm gonna feel like a total bitch if I end up landing Jared when clearly she likes him. Why do they all wear those jackets? Aren't all the guys supposed to wear blue blazers as part of their uniform? No, they're allowed to. They're... You know Jared? Oh, her. That girl turned back around and was looking at me with sudden interest. Did I know him? I only talked to him on the train for a few minutes, so not really. We weren't friends or anything. But looking around, Mai and this girl weren't the only ones who were interested. Everybody seemed to be listening in. They seemed so surprised when he talked to me. Maybe a little white lie couldn't hurt? No, because you know for a fact it's gonna be like, oh yeah, I know him, oh sweet, blah 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 blah, talk about Jared nonstop, and suddenly they're asking him about me or something. And no, I'm gonna tell the truth. Oh. She looked me up and down, sniffed, and turned away. I don't like you. Mai leaned towards me. Don't mind Mimi, she was just trying to get in with you. Get in with me? Why? Well, you asked me about those guys in their jackets, right? Those are their Normal Boots Club jackets. Ah, the Normal Boots Club. Here it begins. They're... What? What's Normal Boots Club? All these people... I recognize some people here. I love how Jared's just staring at a mirror right now. It's a club we have at school here. It's like totally exclusive and full of only the coolest students. They get together and play video games. I thought you said they were the coolest students. I'm just gonna call bullshit right here. In high school, there was no such thing as, like, a club of cool people who played video games, let alone a club of cool people who presumably were cool because they played video games. That's what I'm gathering here. This is not high school. I don't care what you're talking about. Maybe the high school I went to sucked. Did I not go to the right high school? I'm pretty much already gathered this. But the high school I went to had like 3 clubs. And they weren't even clubs. They were just things you could do. Yearbook, photography usually being associated with yearbook, and setting up special events. So basically, student government times 3. Where the hell could I have gone to get video game club? God damn. I really missed out and I hate myself for that. Play video games or something. That one right there is John, also known as Jontron. His bird's name is Jean. John is also the president of the drama club here at school. Next to him is PBG, Peanut Butter Gamer, I think. He and John founded the Normal Boots Club together. PBG is one of the best soccer players on our team. Then there's Gerard. People call him the completionist because he's obsessed with completing things. He has the biggest itty-bitty kitty collection I've ever seen. I'm sorry, just the image here is just hilarious to me. Next to him is Jared, also known as Pro Jared. He's a model. Then there's Satchbag, but everyone calls him Satch because Satchbag is kind of rude. He's like crazy smart. Those guys over there are Paul, Nick, and Josh, I assume respectively. They write a column in the school newspaper called Continue? Paul, the one standing up, is the student council president. The guy on the end there is Shane. He knows more about video games than anyone. Ever. Okay, I'm not familiar with Shane. I've heard of Satch. And I think I've heard of Continue, but I don't know those three, but the rest of the guys I think I know. At least of them. So, we're good, we're good. Haven't met anybody that I'm just completely unfamiliar with. I think we're good. Though I have no idea who Shane is supposed to be. So he didn't even get a username or anything. She exhaled a dreamy sigh into her mashed potatoes. So, how would someone, join the Normal Boots Club? You don't choose the boots, Hana. The boots choose you. The boots choose you, ladies and gentlemen. What does that even mean? You have to be presented with the boots to be in the club, and they're, like, super selective. What are the boots? The club has this boot statue. It's like the one on their patches, but it's gold-plated. It's their mascot, I guess? They do this weird initiation ritual with it. Ritual? I hear they fill a room with candles and wear these totally creepy robes during initiation. This year 2 girl said she saw it once and they were all, like, chanting around the boots, and it sounded like they were talking backwards. Kuyani Scotzi. But I don't believe her, and even if it's true, I don't care if they're a cult, because they're all really hot. Yeah, I feel like my respect for Mai is dipping. Thanks, Mai. You're great. To be fair, though, even if they were a cult, I think I'd be fine with it. Do they have a lot of friends? Yeah, tons of friends. I'd say they're the most popular kids in school. Bullshit. They play video games. Therefore, they can't be popular in school. That's how it works. And I'm sad to say it. I mean, everyone in the school totally looks up to them. I bet they could get any girl in school, too. Or boy, for that matter. Hey, are you gonna eat your cake? I shook my head and pushed the plastic tray across the table to her. Why you no eat cake? Oh, are you having cake? For the remainder of lunch, I listened to Mai talk about Jared through mouthfuls of half-dissolved frosting. Back at the dorm, I sorted through the pile of textbooks the school left for me. My radio was playing a poppy tune, equal parts music to static. Mai fervently scribbled in a notebook at her desk, hunched over it with strikingly poor posture.
Hey!
Hey, Mai? She didn't bother to look up. Am I supposed to have a textbook for History 309? She shuffled through the papers on her desk before producing a thick textbook. A demure man in a powdered wig frowned at me from the cover. Well, fuck you, powder man. Yeah, this one. I sighed. I don't have that one. The school must have missed it. Mai shrugged and set the textbook back in her pile. They have a bunch at the library. You could just check one out. Where's the library? Mai riffled through her notebook and wrote something down. She tore the page out and handed me a crudely drawn map. Oh. Okay, well, I'll be back in a little bit. And now we're at the library, and we're going to continue on in the library in the next episode. So, this has been Asagao Academy. We haven't even gotten into any sort of dating element yet, or really any choices besides that one, which didn't seem to affect anything at all. But, leave in the comments below. Don't try not to spoil anything about this game, please, because I'm going into it blind. I know you can go through different routes, obviously, like for each guy, and I might go through all the various routes over time, but leave in the comments below if you have any preference over who you want me to go after first. Put them below, and I'll take it into consideration. So, I've been Max, this is Asagao Academy, and see you next time for our adventures in the library.